evening. Welcome back to Community Crossfire. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I'm running for City Council. I represent the 3rd District. I just wanted to talk about some good things that's going on in the 3rd District and some things that I'm a part of and some things that I support. So not to hesitate, first of all, I'd like to thank Old Brandywine Village, Jim Shanahan. I just participated in a food giveaway over to the Brandywine. They was able to give away over 2,000 pounds of food for individuals who signed up. Some people didn't sign up, but it was a great turnout with the Food Bank of Delaware. I've always supported the Food Bank of Delaware because they've always supported our community. So I want to give kudos to Jim Shanahan. Secondly, to stay on that side of town, I'd like to thank Peg Tide and her team for opening up the Welcoming Center. And what that is, on 18th and Market, if those of you who don't know, it's a Welcoming Center, tourist center. When your company, your friends come from out of town, they can go over there, get a pamphlet, and tell them about some various things that's going on in Wilmington or different areas of Wilmington, far as eateries, far as the movies. It's a tourist center, as if, when you go out of town, you want to know what's going on in different places. And that's all being held over, right over Jim Seals Bridge, to the right-hand side. So that is really good. Next, I'd like to speak about, I was able to work with the AG's office with increasing the burial expenses and victim comps. It was increased about $4,500, and I think it was really necessary with all the gun violence we have out here nowadays. So we were able to sit down and come up with a figure to increase the burial expenses and victims comp. Another great thing that I'm really proud of is the clean teams around Wilmington. They have them, the administration has them on the east side, north east area, over in Browntown, and I think they've even expanded to the 1st District. This was an initiative that I don't care who did it, I'm just glad it's being done, but this was an initiative under Hanifa Shabazz's administration. I went to Washington, D.C. with Ronald Beard, who used to run a plumber center and used to work for the governor, and he's a heck of a grant writer. And when we went up there, they had something called the broken window syndrome. It's nothing new, but what they were doing was hiring males, majority was males, off the corner in local communities, paying them $10 an hour just to give them something to do so they're not, to put them to work so they're not standing around. So I brought that idea back to the mayor, and he said he was going to use it eventually, in which he did. And it's been very successful, and the governor also used it. They called, his is called the Clean, Keep Wilmington Clean. But nevertheless, it's all around keeping your community clean with various individuals from the community. That's with the cities, but the governor's is from a reentry program. But all of that is really good. As I stated, I don't care who got the credit, but I'm just glad that we are able to have some, now there's males and females that were standing on the corners, and administration has, city council had approved money for them to go around and clean up our communities. On one side is good, and the other side is that we should be able to clean up our own communities, but times have changed, and it doesn't hurt to have a little help out there and giving people some employment. One other thing I wanted to speak about was the beautification program that we reintroduced, and I say we, I mean City Council. It was something that Jim Baker had put in place in 1999, and I introduced a resolution to reintroduce the beautification program. So council put money in the budget, and we just had a kickoff right on Walnut Street that they're going to get some free pots, and it's other council members in their area who are putting in from different beautification projects. And I think that's good so we can keep some green space and plus make our communities look better beautiful. I'm definitely one to encourage expanding neighborhood watch programs. I encourage you, if you are a homeowner, if you're not a homeowner, to get with some individuals and collaborate with some of your neighbors so y'all know who lives next door to you. We have a new 311 system. I'm not crazy about it, but we have to call 311 now so you can get a tracking number, and someone should be calling you back within 24 to 48 hours. And that's so your complaint is not sitting on somebody's desk for 5 days or 6 days. But most of if it's not about the streets, some loitering, public safety, you need to call 311. And you need to call 311 anyway so you can get a tracking number so someone will call you back. Another thing I really wanted to speak about, to thank everybody who came out for the Millie Cannon concert. We had over 700 people, and the officers gave me a call. One of the officers called me the next day and told me it was over 700 people, and Councilwoman, we didn't receive one call. He said he was very, very impressed, and I was impressed, and I was glad because everybody, it's not always something going on, something bad at a large concert, and especially when you have some oldies but goodies that our younger generation knows nothing about. Not saying they don't know how to act, but it wasn't that type of crowd. One other thing I wanted to talk about was the investment and pay increase, the bonus responders that council members put in the budget for the police, the fire, EMS workers. I support the police and the firefighters and the ambulance, because if something happened to me, I don't want you to call Boo Boo and JoJo down the street and think they're going to handle it. I want to call our officers, the firefighters, and the EMS. I respect all of them because that's a real serious job. One other thing we created on City Council through my leadership, we created and founded the first ever speed bump program set to kick off in the fall of 2024. Now, it's not going to be every street because every street doesn't need a speed bump, and it's a pilot program. We have to be careful because the fire trucks are not able to get over some of these bumps when they're trying to speed to go to a fire. So I think it's going to be around some of the schools and where very heavy traffic is, even though everyone feels as though you need a speed bump on your block, but it's not going to happen overnight. But I am glad to share that initiative, just sharing some of the things that I've really been involved with. One of the major things I'm happy about was we voted to bring back WPD's Community Engagement Unit. So what the Wilmington PD is doing is going in different neighborhoods, holding community engagements. They're giving out some pamphlets. You get to meet whoever the sector is in your area. If you don't know who the sector is in your area, you can always call 302-654-5151. That's the non-emergency number. You can call down there, ask for a supervisor, give them your address, and ask them, could someone call you back so you know who the captain is for your area, so you can have that phone number. If something comes up major, if you just want to talk to them, you can call 654-5151, and you will be able to find out who's your the captain for your area. Another thing I think that's very important, I talk to some people and they don't know who their council members are, they don't know who their state reps are, they don't know who their senators are, and I think that's sad. So if you have a question about that, I would encourage you to call 302-576, just for your city council, 576-2140, and you should know who your council member is. I mean, this is the voting time, election time. You should know who you're going in the booth voting for. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I'm running for re-election for the 3rd District. One thing I've always stressed is, sometimes you don't see politicians until it's election time. One thing about Zanthia Oliver, you're going to see me all the time. I'm a busybody. I like to stay busy, and I like working in the community. I like advocating for the 3rd District. I am one to I'm the type I like to be hands-on, sometimes a little bit too much, and it has caused me once and twice to get a little slap on the hand. But I like working for my people, advocating for my people, and supporting my people. Now, I do have a district that is a little needier than others, and I'm okay with that. So I encourage anyone that's trying to have an event or do anything in the 3rd District that you have to reach out to me at least 3 months in advance. I will no longer be rushing and trying to go pick up your check or do this because I'm so busy, and sometimes I'm only human. I fumble myself. So if you're not talking to me 3 months in advance prior to trying to get some money, you're not going to get anything from me within the 2 weeks or 1 month, because it takes 7 to 8 or maybe 10 days, sometimes even get it in the mail. Okay, I was one of the council members who voted for the budget. And if you vote for the budget, that means you vote to keep the city moving forward. And I'm proud to say I was one of the individuals who voted to keep the city forward. I would like to, thank the administration for coming on the east side, doing some work, cleaning up Bennett Street. They took down Harmon Carey's old building that's been, blighted, piece of blighted property in our community for years. I only really wish to see the outcome of it all. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping I was one of the ones who sat down with Jim Baker, and we went to real estate and housing and spoke to Bob Weir about doing some work in individuals' home who was 65 and over, who really needed some work done, because some seniors can't afford to get the work done. And most of our seniors are moving to high-rises because they're unable to pay for various projects in their house. So that was also an initiative that I'm glad to say I was a very major part of. And what happened with that, the mayor switched up because he has the last say, and he took it to a lottery. I wasn't crazy about a lottery, and I'm still not crazy about a lottery, but I am glad for some of the individuals who were able to get some work done to their houses. But I felt as though council members know their district, at larges, know different people. We should have given them, the administration, 30 names. I would have just gave them the seniors that I already had picked out that lived in the 3rd District, that roof is leaking, toilet is leaking. So hopefully we'll go back to allowing the council members who work with the people in their district. I'm only interested in keeping the seniors that can stay in their homes who may have lost their husbands, living by themselves, and just can't afford it. That's my take on it. I also was very instrumental in voting for the water utility assistant program. Now that's a big thing. So there's money, the city of Wilmington, if you need some assistance with your water bill, you can call 311 and leave a message for anyone in finance, and just leave a message saying you'd like someone to call you regarding your water bill. There's no reason someone's water should be cut off. There's plenty of money up there, thousands of dollars. Call up there, and someone will call you back, and just go up there and take your paperwork and show that maybe you have a cutoff or you need to make payment arrangements. Also, if you need your electric bill paid, I can't say this enough, go out to Rose Hill Community Center on Lamson Lane and see Edie Pritchett. They have plenty of money for people who need their electric bill. So your water shouldn't be cut off, and you should be able to go out there and see Edie and take her your cutoff notice, or go out there and tell her you need some assistance with your electric bill. Now, not if your electric bill is $200 or $300. This is for individuals who are having some hardships. And that's Edie Pritchett and Karen, our Rose Hill Community Center. One other thing that I'm glad to see is just the city moving forward. You know, I've been out of town, I've been up Chester, I've been in different parts of Jersey within the last couple of weeks. I do go up there quite a bit, both places, because I have friends and relatives up there. And when I come back to Wilmington, it's a breath of fresh air. People say the waterfront is just for certain people. That's not true. I use the movie theater all the time. I invite women down there. We're ready to go back down there. I do it around the fall when the football, when the men are watching football, we go to the movies on Sunday to give us something to do. So I might do that quarterly. Based on, sometimes it just depends on how much sponsorships we get. Most of the time, my brother plays for most of the movies. But I really appreciate Stormin. I wanted to say that publicly. Stormin, how much I love you, how much I appreciate you, because had it not be for you, I wouldn't be able to have the 300 and 400 women down to the movie theater to see a free movie and free popcorn and free sodas and free pretzels. So I really appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to bring some young ladies together in fellowship. So with that being said, I'm going to come back on with some special guests. I just wanted to give you a little update of some legislation that I have been involved with. One of the major ones I was really impressed with was people were messing with the Prios. If they give you a ticket, I had a guy, a Prio came and was crying, guy had punched her upside the head. Then another Prio was chased down the street with a guy with a gun. And what I was able to do with my ordinance was to put it as a felony. If you hit a Prio, that's her job, that's his job. No one likes getting a ticket, but to take it that far, to really, you know, punch somebody in the head and chase somebody down the street with a gun, I think that's an overkill. So I did put in a piece of legislation or ordinance that you will be fined, and it's over $500. I think it's $1,000. Prios should be treated just like police officers. I mean, I don't want a ticket, but you know, you can mumble or say something, but to really go and physically try to fight a Prio, I think that's too much. And I'm glad I was able to put in that bill. Another bill I was able to put in is the pirate package bill. We have a lot of people's packages being stolen off their porches. I put in a piece of legislation. If they're on your doorbell, if you see them on your doorbell, call the police, let them see it. It's we have legislation now. If they can identify the person, they will be charged. So you shouldn't have to order anything. Someone come up on your porch and you have a camera, call the police and show them the picture, and they may have been in trouble before, and they will get a charge. That's another piece of legislation I put in. I think it's important for us to, as legislators, protect our residents. And I will be right back with some individuals that need no introduction. Be right back for Community Crossfire. Thank you.
You got to pay back. Revenge.
Good evening. Welcome back to Community Crossfire. I'm with one of my council members who definitely doesn't need any introduction, but I'm going to allow her to state her name and her title, and we can just go right into it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maria Cabrera, City Councilwoman at Large.
Okay, Maria, talk about a few things that you would like to see done around the City of Wilmington, or some things that we have accomplished.
Well, let's talk about what we've accomplished, because I think that's more important that people know the work that has been done versus making promises. I don't make campaign promises. the only promise I make is that I'm going to work hard on behalf of the constituents of the city of Wilmington. So one of the pet peeves for me has always been parking and the predatory practices with those things. So my first term, we got the statute of limitations, so that way after 7 years, you can't just come up 10 years later and say, oh, you owe this, and the car was, somebody else's car. I mean, I've seen so many things happen with the towing. So now, as much as I wanted the parking tickets to come down to 25, what we did was a negotiation where if you pay within 14 days, it'll be $25, and then it'll go up to the 40, and then it'll go up so on and so on. So now you get a pay period, maybe 2 pay periods, because $40 is a lot to come up with, so $25 is less than $2 a day. So that's one thing to help folks. There's going to be a first and second reading, I believe, this evening to try to, have more flexibility with paying, being able to put a deposit down, and being given an extended period of time to pay for any parking fines, so that way people don't have to get booted. And as you know, Councilwoman, we both supported Councilmember Bracey's legislation to increase the booting fines up to $300 instead of the $200 to give people more time to get those parking tickets paid. So that was really important. The other thing that we did was we changed the Housing Code, Chapter 34, to have more accountability for landlords who do not fix the properties on a timely basis. For the city to take them to court, it's 8 to 10 month process, and people are still living in squalor. So now it's a civil process where they have 30 days to fix it. If not, they get a fine. If they don't pay that fine and don't fix it, we can get them into court within maybe 3 months, 2 to 3 months, instead of waiting 8 to 10 months. People are paying rent, especially when they're raising the rents, and they deserve to live in safe homes and have things fixed up. Not having water leaks, it raises the water bill, which, again, perfect segue into the fact that this city council has not only approved $250,000 as a fund, but now we raised it to $350,000 for people who need help with their water bill. And
I'm glad you mentioned that. How much we increased that, because a lot of people, were saying that, nobody should pay for water and all this. And I just thought it was ridiculous and ludicrous, because, it's a utility. And you can't go to Delmar Power and say, nobody's paying an electric bill. But I just wanted to let people know how important it is. Some of the legislation.
We're trying to work with people to help them, because we know that people fall on hard times.
That's right.
And I have lived everything that my constituents, that they bring to the table. I have lived. I've had my car booted. I've had it towed. I've had my water cut off. I've been evicted. Listen, all these things have happened as a single mom when I was raising 3 children, trying to make it out here. So I've walked these footsteps. I understand, which is why I work so hard to try to come up with solutions. So speaking about the water utility, you know that water utility did not get used, that fund, until April of this year. So that means the money is sitting there. But some people have said 200% of the poverty level, which is what you need to, in order to get that fund that you don't have to pay back, that assistance. So there's so many people over that are still struggling. So I'm going to introduce legislation to bring it up to 250% of the poverty level. That way it opens it up to a greater pool of people that can apply, and they don't have to pay it back. Then there was the issue with renters not being able to apply. Now we on city council, all of us, have voted to extend that to renters. So we are trying to work with the community, but there's always going to have to be a payment for the water and for the utility. We're replacing all the lead pipes. Our children should have safe and clean water. We don't want another Flint, Michigan situation here in Wilmington. We're repaving the streets. We're changing those pipes. And how about the sinkholes that happen when you have these old pipes? Wilmington is an old city.
Correct.
So these things have to be done. Infrastructure has to be paid for. So those things, to me, are very important. And neighborhood stabilization. You represent a very mixed community where the majority, how many vacant properties you have in your neighborhood. So there's been a lot of work on the east side, which I'm very proud of, as well as the lower hilltop, where we have focused monies, ARPA monies, to repurpose these vacant properties through the land bank and other sources. When people start throwing around the G word, which when I ask them, do you know what that really means? Most of them don't even know what it means. Gentrification. These properties are being repurposed. Affordable housing. Woodlawn Associates, they do what? Sliding fee scale rentals. So that means that people can have affordable homes to live in. With the land bank, people are buying these homes, first-time home buyers. They also have to fall within the affordability matrix. Habitat for Humanity. There are no developers coming in to develop your district that you know of, right? These are all organizations that are reputable, and they're selling these homes and renting these homes at affordable prices. Nobody is being pushed out, but I bet you that the property values are going up in your neighborhood because of it. And you know what else? Crime has gone down. Crime has gone down on the east side, and crime has gone down by 58% in the lower Hilltop area.
You're right. I do want to say, no, my brother Norman is one of few developers that is also building affordable houses on the east side. So I wanted to just mention that.
And on the west side, too.
And on the west side, North Market Street. Now he has about 8 houses going up over Southbridge. So he's not in partnership with no one. It's just him, rock solid. So I wanted to put that out there.
And we want to stress that Norman Oliver, as well as so many other developers, they're 85% of the contractors that are buying these properties, fixing them up and selling them are minority contractors with the land bank. So what does that mean? Once they fix that first property and they make a profit off of it, because they are making a profit, now they're able to get another property, maybe 2 or 3 more, and they're employing, they're hiring people to work with them. So it's a win-win. You know, so neighborhood stabilization is what I'm going to continue to focus on, what I've been doing. It's very important to me because neighborhood stabilization checks off a lot of boxes. First, public safety. The numbers don't lie. When you start stabilizing a neighborhood, crime comes down. Second, we're talking about quality of life issues. Children playing and not getting shot by a stray bullet, or grandmom and grandpa being able to sit on that porch and enjoy a summer's evening. People should have that in their neighborhood. That is important. And then the economics. When property values go up, is it so wrong for property values to go up in your neighborhood, which they probably haven't gone up in 40 years? And if that person decides to sell their home or move away, they have something of value or something they can leave to their family?
Now, see, that's one thing I'm glad you mentioned, and I totally agree 100%, but that's why I thought it was important for us to do the home repair program for seniors.
Yes.
So the fact that some of the feedback that I received back in the meeting was, I thought it was for seniors because that's all I kept saying the whole time. And when you said, so seniors aren't moved out of their neighborhoods.
No. They don't even have to pay property taxes.
Wait a minute,
65 and older.
let me say, that's why I thought it was important for you or I to, because you know your seniors. I know my seniors. You know the people who need some help. You know, you had told me about another gentleman one time, like with the air or whatever. I mean, so I know the seniors who need work done in their houses. So if we voted on it, and hopefully, you know, that's going to change because listen to the administration. Now they say the lottery was good, great. I'm glad the people did get the house. I'm glad some people in the 3rd district did receive the lottery. Some people didn't receive it that should receive it. But I'm saying that to say, I wanted to come back to the council members, for you to give your 20 people, for me to get my 20 or 30, because I know the seniors that need the work done. I know some seniors on the north side that should have had some work done, and they didn't get it done because we used the lottery. But that's the only reason I want to stress that, because we just talked about that in one of the meetings. So hopefully, but the more to the story, the whole program is good. So I'm not knocking the program. But
well, how about this? This is something that I proposed, and the mayor agreed. He says, Maria, let's get this done before I leave office. This is an excellent idea. And this is something that I thought about the first term, but we didn't do it because of the financing. So while we have all this money that we're putting on this lottery, and it is really a luck of the draw, there's people who really need help fixing their homes. So there is programs. It's like an evergreen loan where you structure it. So let the city put money into this pool of money that people can borrow from and pay it back at a 5% simple interest loan. Now, for people who are below a certain income level, like some of these seniors, it would be a grant. So they can apply for it and they don't have to pay it back. That way, the people who really need to get their home fixed are able to get the resources versus leaving it up to luck or chance. So that's something that we could do in addition to the lottery. Not saying that we have to take the lottery away or your idea, because I think we really should.
All of it's good as long as I'm in favor just fixing up some of the seniors' home so they don't have, like, just say if it's your father. He's been there for 30 years. I'm not in favor of fixing somebody's house up who's just been there 10 years. He's been there for 40 years, fix up his house. Because that's when the gentrification comes in, because all these seniors are moving in high risers. And now they can't, how can they keep the house? It's not work. The ceiling is falling in. The bathroom is not work. So if you move out 10 people in one neighborhood that's been stabilized, minority or Hispanic neighborhood, just use Hispanic. And all them Hispanics been there for years and nobody's giving them no help, but we're talking about all this stuff. They need some help over there.
I agree.
Go on 4th Street, if it's some, help them out. So, I mean, I'm done with that, but come on, let's talk about some other stuff. I just like to get that out because it's some seniors.
No, I agree
I mean,
with
I'm
you.
looking at two. I mean, I have 2 seniors right now. She's 85 years old. She's been in the house for 40 years.
No, I agree with
I mean, go fix up her house. I mean,
Those are the people that we need to be
Them are the
helping.
people we should be helping.
And letting them keep their homes. So
Yeah,
that
letting them
brings
keep the house.
that
It's
brings-
generational wealth.
Yes, so now let's talk about the legacy program, right? You know how we have issues with vacant properties. Now, I will say that out of the 1,500 vacant properties that we have, the majority of them are owned by corporations and by businesses that are just letting them sit there, I don't know for what, and those vacant properties create squalor, contribute to the squalor in our neighborhoods. But how about that house that belonged to grandmom, right? The first house that you grew up in, and that you don't want to sell it, or you don't want to do anything, you don't know what you want to do with it, you just know you want to hold on to it, but nobody in the family wants to live there. The kids don't want to live there, and then it sits there vacant. So I'm coming up with this program, it's called the Legacy Home Program, so that if you do sell your home, but this home legitimately, you live there 10 years plus, and you show that you have roots in that home, we'll add it to a registry and say this is a legacy home. This was the first home owned by this family in this neighborhood. We put a plaque on it like we do with the historical homes, and we register it. That way, the person is not being forgotten, because that's really the issue. What they're saying is, we don't want to be forgotten. Now, when you drive by, you can say, that's the home that I grew up in. And I give the example because when I was at the conference, National League of Cities, in one of the breakout sessions, they brought up, how do you deal with vacant properties when people don't want to sell them, no matter what price you give them? But once they said to these folks, these 3 or 4 vacant properties that they had that they wouldn't sell, how about if we name the whole development that they were doing Johnson Way? Let's just use that as an example. As soon as they said they were going to name it after their family, they sold their homes. So basically what they're saying is, we do not want to be forgotten. We want people to know that we were here.
Okay.
And this was our first home. And I think that's the way that maybe some folks will feel more inclined to get money from those homes, instead of waiting for them to be taken from them through the vacant property fines, which we did increase, because we just can't let the homes sit for 8 to 10 years.
I totally agree.
Yep.
I totally agree. Now, I was really impressed with the $25 tickets, but we also voted for, I know one thing we were active with, where we were asking for the pensioners' pension to be increased. These are pensioners who have been retired for, 10, 20 years, and their pension hasn't been increased. So one of the things I'm working on, and we've all worked on, but it failed, is to give the pensioners their pension. They haven't had a pension in 20 years. So them are just some things, just a few things that council members are working on, or city council. We can't save the world. We can't overstep government. We are not the mayor's legislative branch. We are not the state.
The administrative branch.
Yeah, and we're not the state, and we're not the federal government. So people call us, I know I get calls about a lot of things, but some things I'm just not in my preview. But I appreciate, let's talk a little bit about the concert. I want to mention that to everybody.
I want to congratulate you, because first of all, we have to keep history alive. We have to teach our youth about the history and the people that have gone before us. And Millie Cannon, I'll have to admit, I did not know who Millie Cannon was until you came up with this concert idea to commemorate her. And one of the things that you had at the concert was the whole historical table showing who she was, what she accomplished. Very much like Clifford Brown. People don't know Clifford Brown is here, Wilmington, one of the greatest trumpet players to ever live. His life was taken from us too long. Exactly. And then you had other people. There's another guy, Jimmy somebody, I can't think of his last name. So these people, Wilmington has really churned out a lot of musicians and stars and even actors. So by doing that concert, believe me, I did not forget, and that's why I mentioned that when I was on the stage. We're here to commemorate someone who came from Wilmington who was in that world, and that was beautiful. And I love that you did have a peaceful gathering. There was families out there, people with their little tents, and they were tailgating inside the park. And for the brief time that I was there, I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you allowing me to say a few words to the public. And it was a sense.
You contributed. You know.
Yes, I did help sponsor it last year and this year.
Yes.
And I didn't make it last year, but I did make it this year. And I thought it was a wonderful event, and I'm looking forward to continuing to support it and to see how many people came out to love that. Because, as a former events coordinator, events are my thing, and you did a good job, and I congratulate you for that. And I know that, you're out there, walking, talking, trying to deal with things. You and Councilwoman Fields have the two most challenging districts in the city. And as a councilwoman at large, when I look at how I can help constituents, I have to look at the fact that I'm a councilwoman for all 8 districts.
That's right.
And what's good for one may not be good for the other. But a lot of my focus has been in your district and in the 5th district with these 2 projects, because I've learned that as someone who is constantly doing a million things with my ADHD, and yes, I am energetic, but believe me, I come crashing too, is that I can do it better if I focus. And I am focusing on neighborhood stabilization because, as I mentioned earlier, it checks all those boxes. But we also have supported the license plate readers. We supported the community engagement units because that helps stabilize the neighborhood. I'm not getting calls anymore to call the police on behalf of constituents. They built a relationship with those community engagement officers. They're calling them directly. Our chief is doing an amazing job. And people, please be patient, because these change takes time. But we are seeing the aftermath of it. Just stay with us, stick with us, because we are making things happen slowly but surely. And you're right, we can't please everybody because we have to be responsible, fiscally responsible, and do our job.
Well, why don't you tell them what you're running for re-election?
Well, I am running for city council at large. This will be my 3rd term at city council at large, and previously I have worked with Mayor Sills in the administration, so I've been on the administrative side, so I do understand how that works. But most importantly, I have been a volunteer on over 35 boards. Now I have been appointed to the Reading Consortium, so the late great Ted Blunt, which, we miss him dearly, I am taking the seat that he had on the consortium. So even though education is not something that we as council members can vote on and really impact change, we can impact change by working with organizations like Reading, encouraging, asking, pushing for things to be done. We got a new school, Pritchett Academy just opened up in your district. Congratulations, Councilwoman, and all those who worked on that. So what we can do is support those leaders that are helping the city, but understand that we're limited to what we can and cannot do, but we will work with our state representatives, which soon you will have one on the show, who's working very hard on behalf of the community, and that we will try to do our best to impact change in the city of Wilmington. So I hope that you do consider voting for us September 10th, and regardless of whether I'm in office or not, I'm not going to stop working on behalf of the community.
Thank you, Councilwoman Maria. I don't think you're going to have a problem. One thing I will say about Maria, whenever I call her, she's always there. She supports the 3rd district. She receives the highest votes always in the 3rd district. And that's one of the reasons, because I always do talk about the great job you do.
Thank you.
You helped when we supported the HBCU project with the Monday Club.
Air conditioners.
The air conditioner. She supported me.
The people had to move from the apartment.
Yes. So she's always been out there in the 3rd district and throughout the whole city. So I have to give, I give credit where credit's due. So I'd like to thank you. Hopefully re-elect Maria Cabrera on September the 10th. And we do have early voting now. You can go up to the Powell Center or the Riverfront and do early voting, so you don't have to stand in line. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I'm running for re-election for the 3rd district. Vote for me September the 10th, and I look forward to seeing y'all after September the 7th and advocating for the constituents in our communities. I'll be right straight back.
You got to pay back. Revenge.
Good evening. Welcome back to Community Crossfire. Didn't someone get you for that? Oh, I have a special guest on tonight. No need for introduction. She's well known throughout the state of Delaware and the city of Wilmington. I'm going to allow her to say her name, her title, and we're just going to kick right on in. Good evening.
Good evening, Councilwoman. Thank you for having me. Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker of the 3rd District. Really excited to be here with you on this evening.
Thank you. State Rep Dorsey, tell us what you're running for and just some of the things you have accomplished or some of the things that you wish to accomplish.
Okay. Well, I'm running for Lieutenant Governor and super excited about that.
Okay.
Yes, early voting has started. It started on August the 28th, and people have been voting in Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex counties. So we'd like to encourage early voting. Early voting is at the POW and also at the riverfront and at the Claymont Community Center in Newcastle County, as well as in Middletown. And so we also want to encourage people to just go out and vote early. Yes, and they can vote from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. up until September the 1st. And then starting September the 4th through September the 8th, voting is 7 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Okay, so September the 1st. Okay,
Yes,
no problem.
and people can go to the Hudson Service Center in Newark for those who like to vote in that area as well.
Great, great, great. Tell us some of the legislation or some things that you would like to implement when you get in as governor, whichever one you want to go kick in first.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, we're going to do Lieutenant Governor first.
Let's do Lieutenant Governor.
Yes,
Right,
ma'am.
right.
We shall do Lieutenant Governor, yes. And, I think it's important to have relationships with all branches of government, whether it be city, county, state, various municipalities. And having served as a city councilwoman and just completing my 3rd full term as a state rep and having served on the board of parole with the lieutenant governor having 2 primary roles to preside over the Senate and chair the board of pardons, I am uniquely and the most qualified to be the next lieutenant governor for the state of Delaware. And I'm saying that with the confidence in Christ that I have, not with arrogance.
I know several people who had been in front of the pardon board before and had some issues. I don't know if it was the staff or whatever it was, but I would like to give you kudos. To my understanding, this is the most pardons with this, with the leadership that y'all have now ever before. So,
and I'll be a part of that new leadership upon being elected lieutenant governor. I shall be chairing it.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
so
yes.
you want to talk about what are their numbers? What do they mean? I mean, I just heard them talking about that on the news about the pardon increase or expungement down Dover. There's never been this many pardons. What are they saying?
So what's going to ultimately happen, we'll increase those numbers again when I become lieutenant governor, but very grateful that for the current leadership that's there who's been able to enhance those numbers. Yes.
Talk a little bit about the school system. As a council person, we can't do but so much, but I'm very informed on what's going on with the Christiana School District, but I'm not just speaking about that. I just like that piece of legislation that you have passed regarding to put
Black history
back in the schools.
House Bill 198, adding Black history to the state's curriculum.
Okay.
Yes, part of that was, and I like to make sure that I give credit where it is due. And so our children, our babies came to me and said, listen, we don't see ourselves reflected in the classroom. And so they created the Delaware Coalition of the Delaware Black Student Coalition, and it's a coalition that is from up and down the state, so from as far north as Arden to as far south as Selbyville, and they did this all on their own, and it's such a blessing because it's nice to see our children leading, and I was a part of this movement with our children to ensure that House Bill 198 was actually passed, and that the greatest thing is, would you pick up a gun and shoot someone if you know that you're descendants of kings and queens? The answer to that question is no. So you must know your history in order to know, you have to know where your people have been to know where you're going.
That's right, that's right. I know I called you one day, you was at a peach festival.
Yes, I was.
And I'm cracking up. I'm like, the peach festival, where the heck?
Yes, I went to 2 of them, one in Wyoming, Delaware, in Kent County, and then one in Middletown, the Old Town Peach Festival.
And those individuals, they support you.
It's I would like to say yes.
Yes, yes,
I would
yes.
like to say yes, but the other part of it is I want people to know that I shall be their lieutenant governor regardless of where they live. So
Okay.
they'll feel comfortable having me as their lieutenant governor.
Okay.
I've been going up and down the state since my days on council. And
Okay.
of course doing a little more now. And but this isn't new to me.
Right.
I like to say I'm not new to this, I'm true to this.
Right, that's right,
I am
that's right.
very much, I've always been engaged in the community, and that shall continue.
Have you received any endorsements from any individual groups?
Yes, the Kent County Democratic Party endorsed me.
Oh, the Kent
Yes,
County, okay.
Yes, Elect Black Women PAC endorsed me, the
Okay,
Collective PAC.
okay.
Yes, and several other, Senator Karen Peterson has been,
Oh,
yes.
how's Karen Peterson doing?
She's
Senator
wonderful,
Oh,
yes.
beautiful person.
She's been in my life since I was 13.
Oh, beautiful
Yes,
person.
she is that. Representative John Kowalko, and many
Okay,
others,
okay.
yes.
I know,
Representative Larry Lambert, yes.
Okay, okay. I know it's a group of AKAs down in Middletown that supports you. I was over at an event down there, and they was all talking about you. So I said, I know just who she is. So I'd like to give you kudos to that.
I'd like to say thank you to them and many
Definitely.
others.
Yes,
to
definitely.
the
I think
people
you're
up and
doing a
down the
good
state.
job. One thing I can say about Sherry, I'm a hard worker. It's hard to outwork me, but I can, and I will admit that Sherry has outworked me. And it's hard to outwork me
That's
because
a
I
mighty
stay
work.
busy. I have 3 pair of shoes in the car. I keep my sneakers, my flats, and my heels. And every time I see Sherry, I've been here, I'm like, oh my goodness. So I called my brother Storming up one night, and I said, I have to tell you who's really outworking me. He's like, who is outworking you? And I said, yes, I have to tell you. And I said, State Representative Sherry Dorsey, he laughed so hard. He said, you're right about that because I see her everywhere. She don't see me, but I see her. He said, she's up and down the state. She's around the corner. She's here. I said,
Absolutely.
I said, for you not to be in town, you know everything. He said, oh, no, it's hard to outwork her. He said, I don't know one person who has outworked her. So kudos to you for outworking people.
But
And
you
there's
know what,
nothing wrong with that.
Councilwoman, I'm going to say this to you. You know what it is? It's an issue of your love and your heart for the people. It's
Yeah.
about service. And
That's
so
right.
I would like to commend you on the work that you are doing in the community. And thank you for your support too.
Always.
Yes, and many others, like many of
Yeah.
the ministers are
Oh, my
supporting,
goodness.
and so grateful for that. Imams
Yes.
are supporting. Just having the faith
Yeah.
community as a huge support, and members of council
Oh,
are
yes.
supporting. I'm just so grateful.
You
To,
have,
and then to the leadership.
You have IMAC that supports you. You
Yes.
have
Yes.
council members who support you.
Absolutely.
Residents throughout the city of Wilmington. I was glad you was able to come to the 3rd
Yes.
District Millie Cannon event, and people were so warm. It's like, Sherry's here, Sherry. It was like the buzz. I'm like, listen to this. Sherry is in the house.
I enjoyed myself. You did a really nice job with that. We had 2 excellent events on Sunday. August Quarterly, the oldest celebration of Black religious freedom. We celebrated 210 years, which was amazing. And you see, you hear the background. Even the police know it was amazing.
I like that.
And then, of course, the Millie Cannon event, which was very well attended. A nice event, just a great time to be with family and friends, both events. And so I just like to say to our community, job well done for supporting our initiatives in our communities.
Well, one thing for sure I wanted to make sure I made clear, it was unfortunate this year, it was an error. We're not going to get into whose error it was, but we will never have that again, that event on August Courtney. We normally do it on a Saturday.
Right.
And due to a shortage with bandstands, a shortage with equipment, and something got mixed up, I don't know what, because Tina's out of town, and by her being out of town, something got mixed up, and it was unfortunate that we had it the same day, because I've been supporting.
You've been going to August Quarterly since you were a child.
Yes. And I will
yes.
continue, and next year, if it's anything I could do, I plan on getting with Ms. Monk and them early
Good.
to make sure I help with the advertising
Excellent,
for
excellent.
August Courtney. So that was just an unfortunate situation, and as you stated, both events were very nice, because a lot of my family was over there,
Yes.
a lot of family was at the park, but then they came over, so we still supported. So
Yes.
I'm just grateful
Yes.
everything worked out just fine for both organizations.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So whatever else you want to talk about?
Well, I would just like to encourage people to go to sherrydorsey.walker.com to learn more about my candidacy. I encourage you to please vote. If you're not going to be voting early, then please vote on September the 10th. Sherry Dorsey Walker for Lieutenant Governor. I am excited about this next opportunity, not just for me, but for our community. I shall be the first Black woman to be Lieutenant Governor for the state of Delaware. But to quote our future president, I shall not be the last, because my greatest desire is to ensure that I am lifting as I'm climbing. And so I ask for your support on September the 10th, and if you're voting early, please vote Sherry Dorsey Walker for Lieutenant Governor. And a special thank you to my team. I have an amazing team, amazing blessed team, people of faith. And it's interesting because Councilwoman, it was shared with me that this whole faith thing may not work out too well, and it's been a faith walk. It has been, and the scripture says you've been faithful over a few things, I'll make you ruler over many. And so I've just been making sure that I say that scripture to myself every day. But my favorite scripture is Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So I'd like to deposit that into you, Councilwoman, with the work that you are doing, and just continue to let him lead you and guide you as you do the work for the people. You are truly a public servant, and I am so grateful to be your mentor.
Thank you so much. I wanted to mention that Sherry has been a mentor of mine ever since, for a long time, and I really appreciate it, and it's sincere and it's honest, and she picks up the phone and call me on many occasions about various things. We have all kind of conversations.
Absolutely.
I'm just looking forward to September the 10th.
Yes.
Vote Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. Vote for State Representative Sherry Dorsey. I look forward to you becoming the next Lieutenant Governor.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
You've done a lot in the city. You're well known, and you're sincere, and you're qualified.
Thank you.
And you're humble.
Thank
so
you.
I really appreciate you. I'm looking forward to. It just seemed like it's how many days? It's not far now. We're right around the corner.
It is literally around the corner.
Yes.
And I announced, you were there when I announced on Juneteenth at the Congo Legacy Center in 2023, filed in October of 2023. And here we are days away from the election. It has been, like I said, a faith walk. And I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful
Up
to
and down the
all
state.
those. And I have to say a special thank you to my husband, too.
Yes.
My husband, my mother, my family.
Everybody.
Because everybody sacrifices. Everybody sacrifices.
Right.
But September 10th, they will all pay off. 10 is God's number of divine intervention.
Well,
So he's going to have his way.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Yes.
is. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the victory party.
Go right.
The victory celebration, I should
Yes,
say.
yes.
You have worked with so many different people throughout the state, and everybody talks about you. Hanifa Shabazz was talking about you.
Oh my goodness. I
yeah.
sat next to her on council, and she did for me what I do for you. And so
Yeah.
that's why it's so important that people pour into you, because when someone pours into you, you have a willingness to pour into others. And so we have to get away from this, well, someone may be coming for my job, or someone may be trying to take what I have. No one's interested in taking what you have. What God has for you is for you.
That's right.
But it's so important that we look and we, as I stated earlier, lift as we climb. And that's how others have been able to do it. They've been able to create generational wealth. That's what we need to be doing as a community, making sure that we all have economic opportunities and people have access to agriculture, the #1 industry in our state, that we're reforming our criminal justice system through bills like House Bill 195, putting body-worn cameras on all police officers, but just making sure that people have access to affordable housing. These are things that I've already done and shall continue to do as your next Lieutenant Governor.
I was glad to see you at this the event, the SNAP event over to
absolutely.
ShopRite, when you
Yes.
talk about the food desert.
Absolutely.
So you're always on site when you need to be, and I mean I thought that was a good event.
It was.
And just to see how they're expanding that SNAP program for
Absolutely.
you
And
know,
addressing food deserts in the state
Yeah.
through Senator Brown's legislation.
Yes.
Just really looking at the work that's being done by members of the Delaware Legislative Black Caucus and building upon that, what we have to make sure we're doing is that we're not allowing anyone to be de minimis of the power that we have collectively built with the Delaware Legislative Black Caucus, because that's what happens. A lot of times they'll see that we are working together, and it's like, well, how do we divide and conquer? Well, when you are strong, and even when you bring the weakest link into the fold, then people can't break you. And so it's so important that we don't allow our souls to get broken.
I like that, knock on wood. Well, I appreciate you, State Rep, and I'm glad to see that Black Caucus is really very productive and seems to be working well together. I see Mimi is doing very well down there, and all of y'all are doing very well. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to give a shout out, and as you said that to State Rep Senator Darius Brown, who has, I was with him yesterday for a few minutes, who was always encouraging me to move the 3rd District forward. He used to be the representative, the council member in the 3rd District. So he has given me a lot of good pointers, and he also stays in touch and, to say keep working for the people.
Right. That's right.
So,
and that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
That's leadership. That's what leadership looks like when you encourage the next. You don't have to put it. You don't have to put your foot on anyone else's neck.
No, just do the
That's
job.
right. That's
he
right.
called me yesterday and asked me to meet him and said, keep doing what you're doing in the 3rd District and continue to do what you're doing in the 3rd District.
And you're doing amazing work.
And we need to do it.
And you care.
Oh, yeah.
You care.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I come from a large family.
You help a senior, you'll help a child the
Yeah,
same
let's
exact way.
let's do it.
And
Let's
all
do
those
it.
in the middle.
That's right.
And it's
That's
nice
right.
to see. It's nice
Yeah.
to see how you're pouring into the community. You
It's
care.
about us.
It is.
And people think they get in these jobs and they think it's about them. And it's not about you.
It's about the people.
It's about the people. It's about us working for the people. We're just a voice for the people.
And September, we're coming up on Hispanic Awareness Month, which will be September. So there'll be a huge celebration in the 3rd State Rep District.
Okay.
And so I'm really excited about this. We always kick off Hispanic Heritage
That's
Month.
right.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You can give another shout out because I spoke to India yesterday. She had something else to do. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
where is that going to be held?
That is actually going to be held at the Latin American Community Center.
Okay.
And it's going to be the 2nd Friday in the month of September.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes, absolutely.
We also have a Bob Marley Festival, August the 30th.
Which is the 13th, September 13th. Yes. Okay, yes, in Bob Marley.
Bob Marley is August the 30th.
Yes, that is correct.
And I'm looking at the flyer, but I cannot see the location. I don't know if it's still in town.
I feel like it's at the Tubman Garrett
Yes,
Park.
you're right. That's where it is. It's at the Tubman Garrett. You're right. Park right by the train station, and that's August the 30th, right around the corner. And the Heritage,
Right,
the
Hispanic
is
Heritage Month,
September
yes.
the
13th.
Okay, so we
Yes.
have one September the 13th, and that's held on 4th Street.
Yes. So it'll be at the Latin American Community Center.
Okay.
Which is at 4th and Van Buren.
4th and Van Buren, and we have the Bob Marley Bob Marley concert will be August the 30th down to the Tubman Park, right by the train station. And with that, I'd like to thank you for coming
Absolutely.
on once again.
Absolutely.
And we'll be
Thank
back next week. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver, running for re-election for the 3rd District, and you?
Sherry Dorsey Walker, seeking to become your next Lieutenant Governor. Thank you in advance for your support.
Same here. Thank you in advance for your support, and we will see you next week. Have a good one.
I'm mad. Got to get back. I need some get back.